You are listening to the Camila Gornias Show, Heart Behind Hustle, episode number 5. And today we're talking to Jenn Scalia, who's a visibility strategist. And we're talking about going to 7 figures and beyond in your business and doing it in a way that's evergreen. So pretty awesome stuff. Now, about Jenn Scalia is a visibility strategist for entrepreneurs who want to make an impact. She is the go-to expert for entrepreneurs who want the world to know their name. This self-professed introvert and single mom went from rock bottom to creating a 7-figure business within 3 years. Known for her tough love, no BS style, Jenn helps entrepreneurs overhaul their biggest fears and empowers them to share their message with the world. She is the CEO and mastermind of $1 Million Mommy, a company founded to help women across the world reach their dreams and financial goals. Jenn has been featured in Business Insider, Inc., and Forbes.com. So let's go ahead and dive right into the interview. Hey everyone. So I am here with Jenn and I'm super excited to have you here, Jenn. Hey.
Hi, how are you? I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So I wanted to just get started and talk a little bit about your journey, because you didn't start off as as where you are today. Like you didn't just wake up one day and like, boom, there's 7 figures. So I'd love to hear a little bit of just like what the path looked like for you.
Awesome. I love sharing my story because I think, sometimes people get this false sense that it is like, I just woke up one day and I was successful. And that surely was not true for me. I started my business because I actually got laid off. I was working, doing marketing and social media for a very large casino. I actually loved my job, which is different from a lot of people who want to like escape their job. I loved my job. And the casinos do these massive layoffs. They'll lay off like 30 people, 50 people, 100 people at a time. And so I got laid off. And at that point I was like, I'm really good at what I do. And I really don't want somebody else to dictate my future. So I'm just going to go for it, and I started doing some freelance stuff in the marketing and social media space because that was my background. And that's where I started. But then I kind of went off this like beaten path of like, oh, maybe I should do something else. Like maybe I should do life coaching. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should have a bigger impact on people. So I totally went like left, I went totally away from like my strengths, my skills, the things that I was actually good at. And so for a little while there, I was stuck. I would say probably in the first year to year and a half, I was really stuck because I was doing something that I wasn't really, passionate about. And it wasn't really what I was put here to do. So after that first year, I kind of decided I actually had no choice, but I decided to really like decide what I was going to do. Am I going to continue with this business or am I not? And that's the point where I decided to actually get help. And that's when I hired my first coach. And I feel like by hiring my first coach was really when things completely changed for me, because she helped me to realize that I was doing the wrong thing and helped me get real clarity on, what I should be doing. And once that happened, it was just like skyrocketed, like completely fast. I was totally aligned with what I was doing. And that's really when my business took off.
I love that. So what do you kind of see being the biggest shift that you personally had to make, like specifically that took you from like 6 figures to multiple 6 figures and then to 7?
Yeah, I mean, definitely mindset. And I know right now it's like a buzzword and everybody talks about it and nobody really understands it. But I really believe that it was, my belief in myself, what I thought I was worth, what I thought I could charge, how I felt about myself, just, being the best, knowing that I was really good at what I did, knowing that I could get results and, displaying that and putting that out there, and also believing that I could actually make that income. So in the beginning of my business, I had a really skewed vision of like what a lot of money was. I thought like $40,000 or $60,000 a year was a lot of money. That's what I saw people in my family and my friends making. And I'm like, okay, cool. If I could just make like 50 grand a year, I'm good. But then once I entered this space and I saw people were making like 50 grand a month and 100 grand a month, it really shifted my perspective on like, wow, I could actually do that too. So there definitely was a lot of shifts around money, around belief, and about worth.
I love that. And what's really cool about you, I think, is that you have a very it's very heart-centered, but at the same time, you're like no BS. So I feel like it's a really good blend of just like how you support people. So having said that, I know that you started off and you were doing I mean, from my understanding, you were doing one-on-one stuff. So do you mind talking a little bit about how that has shifted towards now?
Yeah, I mean, I was again doing one-on-one work because I really thought that that's what I had to do. And, you know, for people starting out, I do recommend them doing that because I feel like it's the best and easiest way to really understand your clients, understand your process. But, you know, for me, I'm an introvert. So dealing with people and being on the phone a lot and having to like carry the weight of like other people's success really started to get to me probably about a year and a half to 2 years into doing it. And that's when I decided to shift my business model completely to doing more courses and membership and having everything be really evergreen. So I still do a lot of group stuff, but the one-on-one is extremely limited.
Yeah. So I know that so a big part of your like revenue stream, I guess, is the membership site, right? So when did you start the membership site?
It's been 2 years. Actually, we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So what prompted you to actually create a membership site that's like a recurring, like a recurring model versus, a lot of people will just like create a big course and just do a bunch of launches. Like what made you decide to go that route?
Yeah. And at the time when I started it, I don't even think for me that it was about like, oh, I want to create recurring revenue. Like I wasn't really thinking that. I am a content machine. Like I can create content so fast and so much, and it's good that I was like pumping out like new opt-ins every week. And I was always coming up with new ideas and new challenges. And I just wanted a place to put all that stuff because a lot of my opt-ins and things, they weren't getting a very long shelf life because the next week I was coming out with something else. So I was just like, well, wouldn't it be cool if I just had all of my stuff in one place and people could just access it? So that's really where the idea came from to start the membership. So that way people could access all the content I was creating and not feel like overwhelmed by it.
I love that. So I know membership sites they're pretty popular right now. And I know a lot of my clients are actually either thinking about creating one or have one. So I'd love to hear from you, like what have been the biggest learnings for you around having a membership site for 2 years so far?
I think that you constantly have to promote it, even though it's just evergreen, or open enrollment, you have to constantly be reminding people that you have it. So, obviously you can start it really easily. I think a lot of people can start one really easily, get their founding members, their initial members, but how are you going to keep some members? That's going to be, one of the top things that you want to think about. And then how are you going to, the people that leave, how are you going to replace them? So you have to continuously promote it so that you don't end up, 6 months from now with no members, because inevitably people are going to leave. It's just the way that it is. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or your content. People are just going to leave. So if you don't have a strategy in place to continue to put people in there, you're going to end up with 0 members.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely have seen that in it's funny because my membership site is like, I created and I was like, okay, that's nice. Not necessarily the thing for me. Although I am creating a new one and of course, similar to you, content like all the time. But I love that. And I think that's really important to mention that, it's because it is recurring, people aren't signing for like 6 months or 12 months or whatever. We do have to keep re-enrolling or enrolling new people. So have you seen anything really support you in like extending the length of people sticking around or?
I think definitely the way that I run, not just that program, but all of my programs is I try to make them that they're an experience. It's not just like, here's a bunch of content and have fun, but it's more like, okay, how can we create an experience around this? How can we actually make sure that you're implementing the content in there? So like we have monthly contests and challenges right within the group. We do a lot of fun stuff in the group to keep people engaged with the community. And I think that's a really important part is that people just want to be a part of the community, even if they never look at the content. They're in the community, they want to have access to me. So that becomes more important. Whereas in the beginning, they are saying yes because of the content, but they're staying because of the support in the community. So that, definitely having a game plan in place to keep those people happy and keep them wanting more. And, the other thing is like, having, something else for them to buy. The lifetime value of my customer is like so high. I have people that are in my membership and they end up buying, maybe a $500 program, maybe my $2,000 program, and then maybe one-on-one. So it's also a great place to see, upsells for those people.
I love that. Really, really good nuggets right there. So I'd love to hear a little bit from your perspective because, so you shifted into more of that evergreen model. So I'd love to hear like what has been the most effective marketing or sales strategy for you for any of your evergreen products, whether it's a membership site or any of your courses or anything
Yeah,
like
I
that.
mean, definitely challenges. Challenges have been, something that I've been doing for 3 years. I was doing it way before it was even popular. But it's just such a great way to engage people and really give them like a little bit of a taste of like what it's like, if I were to join the membership site, or what it's like if I actually were to work with Jenn. And it's so content rich and value rich that whether they sign up for you or with you or not, that time, they're going to remember you. They are going to like you. They're going to want to stay on your list. They're going to continue to do things, and they will probably buy something from you later on. So for me, that's the most effective strategy as far as just getting people super engaged and excited about what I have to offer. And then of course, paid advertising is just really the quickest way, right? So if you have any money in the bank or money in your budget, definitely put it towards paid advertising, because that's going to happen. That's going to make it happen faster.
And I love that you mentioned paid advertising because obviously, I believe in that, and that's huge. So going down the path of showing up, because that's basically, I kind of see Facebook ads or any kind of social ads or just ads in general as doing a lot of the visibility for you. So you don't have to actively be doing this. But I would love to hear from you in terms of, is there anything else that you personally do that supports you in staying visible, remaining like on top of, the mind for your potential customers?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it starts with the paid advertising or getting people on my list somehow. And I am highly communicative with my list. Like I'm emailing multiple times a week. I'm actually going to be moving to a email a day format soon. So I really utilize my list now more. In the beginning, it was more social media because I didn't have a list yet. I didn't have money for paid advertising. So I had to do a lot of the organic stuff. But for me, my list is where it's at. That's where I put a lot of my attention. And then on the other side of it, when it comes to social media and what I'm putting out there, whether it's a live stream, a blog post, anything like that, I am super critical about making it really impactful and really good. I think a lot of people just show up for showing up's sake, and they're not really making an impact, and they're not really giving me anything that I need. They're doing live streams, but they're not really saying anything. They're making posts, but it doesn't really matter. So I always strive to just give massive, massive value so that those live streams and those posts have a shelf life of many days, and not just a couple of hours, and it's not getting drowned out by my other content. I actually just made a post in my Facebook group about why I don't go live stream every day. And it's because I only want to show up when I have something of value to give.
I love that. So because you share such value, do you find that like, do you just share anything, or is there like a limit, or, I'm trying to say, like, do you give away the farm, and should you give away the farm? Because a lot of, especially my clients, I mean, because I tell them to share and create content, and some of the clients, especially the ones that are a little bit more perfectionist about it, they're really like, well, what exactly do I share? At what point do I draw the line so that they actually want to work with me? So what would you say to that?
I find that sharing more personal stuff and my experiences with certain strategies or tactics more effective. So I'm giving more of like the background, the overview, maybe lessons that I've learned, more things like that, so that they know, okay, she's talking about this thing. It's really important, but she's not actually telling me how to do it, So now they know it's in their space, it's in their head that like, maybe I should be doing this, but now they need to figure out, how do I actually do it? And that's going to be, either coming to me, joining my membership site, one of my programs, or something like that. So I really like sharing my experiences and what I'm actually using those strategies for, as opposed to just saying like, here's a step-by-step for, creating a challenge. But I'll actually just talk about, well, here's some mistakes that I made, when I made my first challenge, or, more things like that.
I love that. So to everyone that just missed that stories are important, and just, that is so valuable because we relate to stories. We are like wired to hear stories. So, I mean, that's like the most effective marketing there is. So I really love that you said that.
And the stories, when I share personal stories that have nothing to do with business, those are the ones that get the most likes, the most comments, like everyone talks about it. I mean, I did a live stream in December about my new apartment, and people are still to this day saying, oh my God, I saw your apartment apartment, and I'm like, wow, that was like 6 months ago. So that's pretty good shelf life.
Yes. Because it's like, you don't have to be perfect about it either. It's just like anything about your life, especially nowadays, I mean, we have to be transparent with who we are and like showing people into our life. I think I talked about this before, but there was a live stream that I did when a bird flew into my bedroom a couple of months ago. And it was a couple of months ago. And it was just like a short 2-minute, like I was trying to shoo shit out of the bedroom. And then people see me in person, or they like get on the call with me. They're like, oh, I remember that you were trying. I'm like, that was just like a random, pointless live. So I totally understand. And yeah, so being able to show up. So let's switch gears for a second, because you have an amazing company. So your company is called Million Dollar Mommy. Is that correct? Yes. And I love that, because you really were able, you're really able to create this like empire, right? So what would you say are like the biggest things for you, the biggest, I guess, learnings or things that you make sure that you include as it comes to growing your company to, multiple 7 figures and then beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like the support that I have around me and my team is crucial. I started this business thinking that I do everything myself, and I learned very quickly that I can't. And my team is not huge at all. I feel, but the way that I delegate everything to them gives me more space to create and to grow. So I think definitely the support that I have in the business is help me continue to grow.
How does your support look like?
Again. So I have an OBM, online business manager, for those of you that don't know what that is. And she's basically doing a lot of the tech stuff, customer service, payment stuff, things like that. And then I have a VA who does very task-based things. So she's helping with my social media. She'll set up, calls and send out emails, things like that. And then I actually have an in-person assistant / nanny who helps me with my son, helps me with things around the house so that I have free time to actually create. I feel like I spend most of my time either just working with my clients or creating. And that's my whole team. I do have some contractors, like someone to do my Facebook ads, someone who does my copy, and someone who does my web design. And that's about it.
I love that. So you don't have to have a massive company or like a massive team necessarily. You don't have to hire necessarily like full-time people to be like super successful, which is awesome. And that's definitely very freeing. So I love that you started saying that you spend most of your time working with clients or creating content. Is there anything else that you tend to do on a daily or weekly basis, all like consistently to make sure that you're staying on top of things?
My mindset work. It's like, it's become a little bit obsessive at this point. Like I think yesterday I probably spent about 2 or 3 hours doing my mindset work, and what I've really discovered and, what I know needs to happen for more growth in my business is that I need to fully step into being that person who has a multi-million-dollar business, so I really focus on that a lot, and it's coming more and more clear to me that it's less about the doing and more about the being. And how I'm going to grow my business even more.
And I love that you brought mindset up again, because that's, the bigger company and like, that. Is there anything else that you wanted to share around, creating that empire, multiple 7 figures and moving into the beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also about elevating your impact in different ways. I think a lot of people get stuck on just like, oh, let me just hang out in Facebook groups or be on social media. And I'm, talking, stages, writing a book, podcasts like you have right now. So figuring out how to get in front of more people and make a bigger impact on more people.
Yes, I love that. So thinking bigger, creating a platform and making sure that that's actually, sticking around and it's sustainable and it's long-term. So I love that. Now, a different thing that I wanted to ask you is I wanted to ask you more about your drivers, because you've clearly created a really successful business for yourself. So what has been like the main driver for you to actually keep going? Because it's not always easy, right? There's always ups and downs, there's roller coaster rides, and it's just like a whole thing. And very often I'm sure people see like, overnight success. Well, that doesn't really work like that. So what has been like your shining light through, everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's completely changed for me too. You know, in the beginning, it was definitely about creating something for my son, which, you know, that's always a running theme for me. In the beginning, it was more, I was kind of in this do or die place, and I had to provide for my son and I didn't have anything else. And now that I'm able to do that freely, you know, I have different drivers. You know, my driver's more, you know, that impact that I can make, that, you know, my company, $1 Million Mommy, you know, it's really to help people create wealth through business. That's like my overarching theme for my business. And I just really want to make a bigger impact. That's more of a driver for me. And now it's more also about freedom. And you know, that's why I'm evergreening my stuff, so that I can actually now enjoy the fruits of my labor instead of having to like hustle and do all that stuff. So okay, let's get all this stuff in place so I can actually have fun, have a life, enjoy my time with my family and my friends. So those are the two biggest things for me right now.
Mm-hmm. And how do you define freedom personally?
For me, it's pretty much just being able to do whatever the heck I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not doing the things I don't want to do. I was just reflecting on that and I was like, wow, like I really don't do anything I don't want to do. And I could never say that before, you know, and even just little things like going somewhere that I thought I had to go to, you know, like now I more easily can just say, no, I don't feel like doing that. Or no, I have something else going on. So it's a lot easier for me to say no now. But yeah, for me, freedom's just doing what I want to do with the people I want to do it with, and not having to say no because of money.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So the other so I love that you shared about your purpose, which was, you know, especially aligned with $1 Million Mommy, and, you know, just having that overarching theme for everything. So as a sub question to this, I'd love to hear if you have like a specific thing that you do, or if there's a specific way for you to actually stay connected to that heart of like why you're actually growing this business.
I mean, I think it's just something that I do on a daily basis with my mindset work. It's like, okay, what is the purpose? What am I here for? And always just sticking to that. I talk about the big vision a lot in my courses and things like that, because I think it is really important to like keep your eye on why you did it in the first place, because we're going to come up against roadblocks and things that are like, should I just quit? Should I do something else? Should I try again? And when you have that big vision for yourself and your business, that's what keeps you going.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned mindset work a couple of times. How does that look like for you?
So for me, I do journaling. I can't meditate. I don't like it. So I don't meditate. I don't do yoga. I actually don't even visualize. So I do my stuff way different. I actually consider my journaling visualization. So essentially what I do is I decide, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my body to look like? What do I want my relationships to look like? My health? I kind of go through every area of my life because I feel it's all connected, you know? So I don't just do just business or just finances, but I think about the big picture, you know, what do I actually want? And essentially what I do is on a daily basis, I go through each one of those topics and I write out the story of exactly what I want, what it looks like, how it feels. And I end up writing probably like 3 to 4 pages every morning. And what that does for me is it allows me to identify with the person that I want to be, and really step into that. And I approach it from an already done standpoint. So I don't say, I want to do this, or I want to make $1 million, or, you know, I'm going to do this. It's always like, it's already done, you know?
That's big.
Yeah.
So I'm sure at some point when you're doing this kind of work, you're writing out like, here's what my life looks like, hint, hint, soon. I'm sure there's things that come up like, you know, like whatever that might look like for you. Does that happen? And then if so, how do you like overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Especially in the very beginning, you know, I would be writing things out in the back of my head. I'm like, yeah, right. That's not happening. How is that going to happen? You know, I kind of got in my head, but it really is a practice. I mean, it's just like anything else. So for me now, because I've had so much evidence that what I've written down and what I've created in my mind actually comes true, I am like super like strict sometimes with what I write, because I'm like, if I don't write this the right way, like so it's not going to happen, or it's going to happen wrong, you know? So I just now believe so much in the power of what I'm creating and what I'm writing that I just believe it. and I think because of the repetition as well, I'm going through the things daily and, saying, okay, life, business, relationships, what I want it to look like. But I'm actually just forming this picture in my mind that's just the way that it is.
So you're basically writing the same thing every day, it sounds like.
And it's not like a script or anything. I don't like look back and say, oh, what did I say that day? But I kind of, just think about it. I have the vision, so I know what it looks like. And so it is a little bit repetitive, but what I've discovered is by doing it daily, new things come up where I'm like, oh, I would like that too. Or I would really enjoy a little bit more of that. So it really is a fun process for me because it allows me to just kind of, go out there and dream, without any limitations. And the fact that I know that it works now is even better.
I love that. So as we're kind of coming to an end, I did have another question for you around, let's say that there is an entrepreneur listening and they are at six figures and let's say that they have been generating that money through mostly one-on-one and maybe some group programs. And they're like, oh, Jenn knows what's up. I'm going to move into the evergreen kind of model. What tips would you have for that person?
Yeah, I mean, number one tip would be what got you to six figures isn't going to get you to multiple six figures, isn't going to get you to $1 million. So, what I find is that people who are in that place, in that six-figure spot, it kind of got there accidentally, and they don't actually have some kind of system or process in place to actually get them more of that. So, for me, it's going to be about really understanding your process, creating some type of framework or methodology or something that you can apply in your business and use in your business over and over and over again to continue to generate more income. So as far as moving from one-on-one to, just solely group or solely evergreen, it's a big leap. It's a big leap. And I would say be prepared to have a couple months where it's a little bit of less income while you're making that happen. But know that in the end, it's going to give you the freedom that you desire.
Persevere. That's important. So I love everything you have shared. And I know that you have a gift that you wanted to share with the listeners. So I'd love it if you could tell us what that is.
Yes. So I, based on our conversation, the fact that I probably said this word like 15 times in this interview, I actually have a six-figure success mindset mini course. So it's a 6-day little course that walks people through exactly what I do on a daily basis, and how I do my mindset work, and how these are the exact strategies I use to go from, six figures to multiple 6 to 7. So I would love to share that with your audience. It's really fun. And here's the kicker. Even if you're not woo or you don't consider yourself woo at all, this stuff will work. I'm the most practical type A person alive. And so I approach it very, with a lot of practicality, and actual things that you can do on a daily basis. So it's not just a bunch of woo and it's not just a bunch of fluff, but it's an incredible course, completely free. It's awesome. And you can just go to jenscalia.com/Camila and get access to that.
Perfect. And you guys will see that in the show notes as well. So for the people that want to go and stalk you and you have, I think you have Facebook groups and, there's several different ways of connecting, but I would love to hear what's the preferable way for people to connect with you.
So the preferable way is probably my Facebook group because I'm in there, I'm sharing with people, I'm doing live streams. So you just go to jenscalia.com/tribe. And that will take you right to my Facebook group. And then I'm just Jenn Scalia everywhere. I got lucky. You probably got lucky too, Camila.
I did, yeah.
But yeah, there's no other Jenn Scalia apparently. So I'm Jenn Scalia everywhere. So whatever your preferred platform is, you can just search Jenn Scalia and you'll find me.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jenn. You have been amazing. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.